Today, we get to work on this classic 1985 C-10 project. And with any time we have left, we'll diagnose a slipping transmission and bolt up a new one in this Dodge truck. There's a lot of stuff on that list.
Yeah, he's got some expensive taste too.
Yeah, he does, but it's good taste, so I'm okay with that. Hey, welcome to TruckU. So today we've got this 1985 C-10 project truck in the shop, and he's already done a lot of work to it. I mean, this is a great looking truck. I love that shaved look down the side, right? The black looks great, got a nice stance, wheels, tires, the whole bit. This is good.
Yeah, most people look at this truck and say, I am done, pow.
Right.
But not our buddy. You know, he wants to take this thing to the next level. He's always working on it. It's a project that's always evolving. So what he's done is he's went on Brothers Truck Parts website. Now, you can get stuff from 1947 up to 1987. And you can find pretty much anything you need. And he put together a wish list. So if you scroll down through here, you can see you've got everything broken down by category, from drivetrain to electrical, chassis stuff. So he's made his little wish list of all the stuff he wants to do and add on to this truck. And the great thing about it is, let's say he doesn't have the time or money to do it all right now, he can buy what he wants, the rest will stay in this wish list, and he can get to what he wants. The good thing about this too is, you know, it's kind of cool because let's say the holidays are running around and someone's looking for something to buy you for Christmas. You forward him this list, and you know, Uncle Steele over here can leave the necktie at home, keep it for himself, and buy me a brake pedal kit. That's pretty cool.
What this is, and what Brothers Truck Parts has done, is basically created a gift registry for guys. You know how the wives do that at the time they get married, you know, the bridal registry and Valentine's Day and those other fake holidays. Now there's finally something for us. This is sweet.
Yeah, well, it looks like a few of his wishes just came true, man. We got to do some little work right here. That's cool.
All right.
Wow, that got here quick.
How? Yeah.
Hey, anyways, we got our stuff from Brothers Truck Parts. It's shown up, and the first two things off the wish list was this new front bumper and this air dam for this 85 truck.
You know, at first glance you say, what's wrong with the front bumper, right? It looks pretty good, especially for a truck this old. But the deal is the prior owner for this truck smashed up something pretty good over there on that side, and it cut into the bumper. I don't know if it was a fence post or a tree, but there's some pretty good gouges, and it's impossible for this guy to get cleaned up, and that bugs him constantly.
Yeah, he's detailing his truck, and he gets around to the front here, and there's that reminder of, ugh, I gotta fix that. You know, it just starts eating you after a while. Now, if you look at this bumper, though, a little bit closer, you can see it's starting to rust through, so it's just about time. There's a lot of pitting across the top. So with the one from Brothers Truck Parts, we can take this one off, replace it, and it's a direct fit, so it'll go on in just a matter of a few minutes.
Okay, now before we take this off, let's show what's going to happen with this air dam right here. This is a 4-inch air dam traditionally for a 4-wheel drive truck, right? And that'll mount right below the new bumper. Traditionally for the 2-wheel drive one, it's only 2 inches, but this will visibly make it look like the front end of the truck is actually closer to the ground, and that's the whole look that he's trying to go with. So this is going to look nice. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I think it goes with that whole flow. Now, I don't know how practical it is being an inch off the ground, but that's not our problem.
Yeah, that's not our problem at that point. Let me know when you're ready.
You ready?
Yep. All right. So that can go.
I'll go down. This one will go in place, and
so today we thought we'd take the party outside and show you something brand new, never before seen on television. This is the debut. Take a look at this. Pow! Tire shine from Duplicolor. That's what it's all about. It's part of the new Detailer series. Now, how often does this happen to you? You dress up your tires, you get them looking great, you go out 2 hours later, it rains, all your hard work is gone. It's all washed away. That's not gonna happen now with the tire shine, because this lasts up to 5 times longer. So I thought it would be cool to put it to the ultimate test. That brought us here to this random ultimate car wash. So here's how the test is gonna go down. Duplicolor tire shine on this side of the tire. We've got the leading competitor, also known as Brand X, on this side of the tire. Then after the experiment, or the test if you will, once we pull this tape off, you'll see what an uncoated tire looks like too. So it's like we have 3 tests all going on at one time. Now before you apply the tire shine, obviously you want to make sure that the tire is clean and dry. When you apply it, just put it on with thin coats, lay it on there nice and easy until you get the look that you want. Now keep in mind, if the tire is older, it might take a little more product. We're about ready to run this through the wash, but the question is, how does the tire shine work? Well look, Brand X is silicone based. When it's silicone based, it does not dry, and that's why it comes off in the car wash and in the rain and it gets on your clothes. Over here, the tire shine is not silicone based. It looks like it's soaking wet, but I'm rubbing this and nothing comes off on my hand right there. You can see it's bone dry. Now we go back over here, silicone based, and hands are all greasy. That's 1. Let's get ready for round 2. Let the washing begin. Round number 3. I thought it'd be cool to bring you guys along with me on one of these. 3 washes down, and you can see it right here. The tire shine looks good as new. Brand X is virtually non-existent. It's all washed away. That's because the tire shine is made with Shine Last technology that lasts 5 times longer. So for all the information you need about tire shine and the Duplicolor Detailer series, be sure to check out their website.
Hey, welcome back. I'm crawling around the front of this cab because I'm trying to knock off a few things in this guy's wish list. He was very adamant that we change out the factory pedals with some new street rod, hot rod looking stuff, and that's what we got here with these billet throttle pedal assemblies. So this is going to go away and this is going to come into play. It was actually pretty easy coming out. The only tricky thing was you had to go blindly up underneath to unhook the throttle cable. That was a little tricky. Once we got that done, it's simply 3 bolts. The old one comes out. Now, before you go to try and put the new one in, one of the things you have to keep in mind is you've got to get the right angles on these 2 levers. If they're not clocked correctly, what will happen is you get it up into place like that, and it could bottom out on the floor and you'll have no throttle. If you have it too high, you won't get wide open throttle either. So that's one of the things you've got to do. And once I get ready to mount it in place, I'll have Matt help me on the other side to make sure that butterfly's wide open when this thing hits the floor. So that'll be good. Now, the other thing we're going to add is this little cover right here for the brake pedal. Now that looks pretty cool. You've got the little inserts that go right there to finish it all off. What we have to do is we'll mark one of these holes. I'll do that with a center punch. Then I'll drill it out. I'll actually put it in place and bolt it back in place. This way, when I go to drill the others, it won't walk around, and make sure all our holes are lined up. Once that's done, put the little inserts back in, and he's gonna have a very cool custom looking 4-pedal assembly, which will bring this whole truck to life underneath. And it's all about the little things. We've got all this stuff from Brothers Truck Parts. It's pretty cool.
Next up on the wish list are these 2 little gems right here, the sway bars for the front and the rear. Okay, so this will slide in down there because that's where that's going. Now, here's the deal. Ordinarily, we are jacking trucks up, modifying the suspension, putting on bigger tires, getting it ready to go off-road, right? This is totally different. You know, we don't get to do it too often, so this is pretty cool. The guy that owns this truck actually wants it to handle more like a sports car, and now it's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, he's asking for a lot basically because this is a full-size truck. It's got an old suspension that nothing resembles a sports car about it. It's not aerodynamic, and you know what? It's heavy up top, so it's going to get a lot of body roll. Now, while it looks cool being dropped to the ground, the problem comes into there's no fender wells if you haven't noticed on the inside of this thing. So if he's taking a turn fast and he gets some body roll, it'll potentially bottom out, and that's not what you want. So what we'll do is we'll tie into the bottom of these lower control arms, go across the chassis, and it'll really make this thing stiff up front. He'll get that nice tight feel. It's like he's driving a Ferrari by the time we're done with it.
Well, maybe. Bruno may be exaggerating slightly, but hey, same principle in the back for that sway bar as well. So it's going to be a totally different ride when he does this. So the few things that we were going to do to this truck today are done, and I think he's going to be very happy with those little changes.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's going to like them. But one of the things that he did before he brought it in was he had this Line X spray-on bed liner installed, and it looks fantastic on this truck.
Man, it looks really good, and it's going to stay looking good for a long period of time because it's got a UV protectant. It won't fade, it won't chip, it won't scratch. You know what's really cool too is I've seen some guys take their entire truck from front to back and coat it in Line X, and it looks awesome.
It does.
And, you know, and you can even get in different colors too, but obviously the black is the way to go with this thing.
All right, that is cool. We need to go to break right now. When we come back, we've got some tranny work to do on that Dodge.
Yep.
Nice. Drive shafts are out of the way. We're good to go.
All right. Hey, welcome back. We're moving on to this Ram truck, and the issue with this thing is it's got a transmission slip, and that can be kind of hard to diagnose. I know what you're thinking. How do I know if my trans is slipping? Well, first you might start noticing that it doesn't really apply when you feel the shifts. You don't feel it anymore. It starts to run smooth, especially when you're doing towing. Other things that start to come in play is you'll start seeing temperatures rise into the transmission. The more it's slipping, the more trans temp you're going to get. Then when it starts to get bad, you'll see that when you step on the throttle, the tackle jump, the RPMs will jump, but the back tires won't. At that point, it needs to come in for either service, repair, or replacement.
Now, for an extreme case, I go all over the country and I do these big tractor tire mud truck shows, and you'll see a big truck, 1,000 horsepower, 65-inch mud tires ripping through the swamp, and then all of a sudden, the tranny starts to go. You notice the RPMs are still killing it, right? But the tires are barely moving. That's usually followed by some smoke, and then maybe a little bit of fire after that, you know? But the fire, the good news is the fires are usually quick and they're out.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to freak any of you guys out at home. Just because your trans is slipping doesn't mean it's going to catch fire. It's a bit of an extreme case.
Good point. Good point.
With that being said, if you start to notice you're having some trans issues, you do want to bring it in right away, because the sooner you catch it, you can save yourself some money and some time. Because if you look at this thing underneath a big truck like this, it's a big project to get the trans down and to service it. So difficulty level between, I'd say, a 9 or 10, am I right?
Yeah.
You know, and once it gets a difficult project, it gets more costlier, especially in terms of repairs. So if you catch it early, you might save yourself some damage and save yourself some money.
All right, so the shafts are out. Let's get this transfer case down, and then we can get at that tranny. Okay. So that'd be good. All right, thanks for reeling me in back there earlier too, dude. I appreciate it.
I gotta do that from time to time.
Sometimes I go off on a tangent, and I just start talking and talking and talking, and you know, do. You notice I always have to have musical accompaniment.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's good right there for now.
Yeah, that'll do.
Hey, we got a chance to sneak up to the table thanks to the guys at Monster Transmission. Check out some of the internal components of these transmissions. Now, here's the factory stuff, some of the stuff they're having problems with, and here are the fixes.
Now, the number one enemy of a transmission is heat. And to make a long story short, here's what can happen. Over here on this clutch right here, you've got this friction material, right? And if it gets too hot, it's going to start breaking off and start crumbling off of this. Well, that gets into your transmission fluid, and that contaminates the whole system, because now these little chunks and pieces are getting in your electrical components, they're getting up in the valve body. And you know, if you ever pull the dipstick out and it's black and it smells really bad, that's because you've got a lot of this friction material in your fluid.
Yeah, and the smell is undeniable. You can't get rid of it. You know, Matt talks about the contamination. We've showed you guys a valve body before, and there's so many oil passages and the pistons going back and forth, which is engaging a gear and disengaging. And any little contamination can plug that up, and that's how you can lose a gear, lose reverse. It's like a vicious cycle of contamination, which is not good. Now, some other things they have issues with are the planetary gears. In factory configuration, you've got a 4-pin design, and this one being aluminum. You know, when aluminum heats up, it distorts. It's not a good thing. Guys from Monster, what they do is they use a 5- and 6-pin design, which gives you more surface area, distributes that load better, and can take a lot more power.
And it's steel, so it's going to hold up as well. It's not going to warp like that. Now, this accumulator piston is another good example. The stock one right here is plastic. These things melt all the time. They're constantly knocking the melted plastic out of those. Well, this one's a piece of billet aluminum, so it's going to be more temperature resistant, and it's got 2 ring seals on the top and the bottom. Yeah,
and you look at the band, you've got a paper design versus that Kevlar lining. It's going to really do a good job with the heat. Same thing can be said for the clutches. These are performance high-temp clutches, which are going to handle up to 400 degrees more than factory, and that's how the guys at Monster are dealing with the heat issues.
All right, let's go get that new transmission.
All right, cool.
All right.
Nice.
This is the Monster Transmission 48RE, and this is going to get the job done.
Yeah, this is going to be a direct replacement for the one that we smoked inside that Dodge. Now, when you talk about an automatic transmission, you've got to talk about the torque converter because they go hand in hand. And this is where a lot of magic happens. You know, one of the biggest adversaries to a torque converter, just like the transmission itself, is heat, man. And look inside. This is a factory torque converter where you see it's a single clutch assembly, and this one's been smoked. You know, it's all blackened out. It typically comes a tan look to it, but this one's been wore out because of the heat.
Yeah, you can see where that one's just been spinning up against the plate, and that baby, like you said, is wore out. Now what happens is that's slipping and spinning all over the place. That's putting undue pressure and an undue load on the rest of the internal components, which is what we showed you about a minute ago on the rest of those clutches. So this smokes, then they all start smoking, and the whole thing's done.
Yeah, you got that vicious cycle. Now, one of the ways that the guys from Monster combats that is, first of all, they've got their custom converter, and this is a nice billet piece, so it's a lot stronger and it's true. You're not going to have any issues with clearances. The other thing, too, is they use a triple clutch design, so you're going to get 3 times the clamp load you would in the OE factory style. Another thing they do is really cool is if you look at where the magic happens inside the converter right here, you're going to notice there are a ton of fins with all these different angles on them. The whole idea is the angle is what gives you the stall speed and gives you your clamping force. Now, they're a specific design for a specific application. The guys at Monster, they go the extra mile, man. Look at this. They reinforce every one all the way around with welds.
Now you take a look at the stator as well. You got a full roller bearing right here versus the nylon hub. This is going to give you a lot more friction, a lot more heat, and this right here is going to cut down on that and keep everything running cooler.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice job there, Hercules.
Thanks, dude. Been working out a little bit. All right, I got one more click and then look at that.
Yeah, well, that last click lets you know that you're fully engaged. Now, we fill the thing up with fluid first. Make sure you do that, otherwise you'll tear up the converter, and you don't want that to happen.
Before we put it up there, though, we got a few brackets on this side and the shift linkage. We got to move that over. Once we get all that in place, we're ready to slam this baby up in there.
All right, cool.
Welcome back to TruckU. Now let's say you've got a little project that involves some heat insulation or some sound dampening, and the guys at Second Skin Audio really have you covered as far as a couple different options when it comes to that.
Yeah, one great option is a Damplifier Pro. Now these are sound and heat deadening mats. As you can see, they're really easy to use because they're pliable, flexible, they'll pretty much go anywhere. They've got an adhesive back where you peel off and just stick into place. Now if you want to go with a different option, they've got a spray-on called the Spectrum, which is great as well.
Yeah, it's a viscoelastic polymer that's water-based. It cleans up easy, very low odor. Once it cures, there's no odor at all. But you know what's cool? You know me, I love an experiment, right? So I've got these 2 cymbals laying around. I had these from the old days. You know how that goes, right? This one has not been treated. Raw cymbal. Love it. Yeah. It's kind of like a gong or something like that, right? Now this one, take a look at that. All right, it's been treated with the Second Skin Audio. Boom, listen to this. Nothing.
Wow, that is dead.
That sound is dead and gone, and that's good for the vibration in the drone in your vehicle, so all that's out of there, right? That's the name of the game.
Yeah, either way you go, you're going to deaden the sound, and you know what? Either product is made in the USA, so you're good to go all the way around.
It's the Spectrum and the Damplifier Pro from Second Skin Audio. We all love our toys, right? Talking about boats, four-wheelers, trucks, it doesn't make any difference what it is. But a lot of us are having issues with the new ethanol in the fuel that we're dealing with. Remember, the problem is not the engine, the problem is with the fuel. And now with the Startron, we can fix all of those ethanol problems.
Yeah, a lot of you probably don't realize when you fill up at the pump, you see a little decal right there. It says that your fuel is cut with 10% ethanol. Basically what it's doing, that cutting is diluting the fuel, and you're getting less fuel economy and less power. And especially when you talk about vehicles that are sitting a long time, that ethanol really becomes a problem. You see, it attracts moisture in the air, and that moisture is not only going to water down your fuel, but it's also going to attract clogging and debris inside of that engine because you get these buildups. Well, the enzymes in the Startron are like little Pac-Man. They go ahead and break down that debris, break down that moisture and that clogging, and bring your engine back to life again.
It's the Startron enzyme fuel treatment, and you're going to get results you can feel. Now this is Armor All wheel protectant, and it's designed specifically to keep your wheels looking cleaner longer, because we've all had the scenario where we wash our car or our truck, you get it looking good, and days later now you got brake dust and all that all over your wheels, and you're thinking, what in the world's going on? I just cleaned this thing.
Now there's an easy fix. So the next time you wash and dry your vehicle, spray your wheels with the Armor All wheel protectant. What's going to do, it's going to create a barrier that's going to repel dirt, dust, road grime. The easiest thing is you just spray it on. You don't have to touch it. You allow it to dry, and it's going to last up to 4 weeks. So now when it's time to rewash and dry your vehicle, cleaning those wheels is going to be a lot easier because you're not going to have all that buildup you're having to get through. This is going to make your life a whole lot better.
This is a cold air intake system from Cold Air Inductions. It's for all of your GM platform trucks, and really what these guys at Cold Air Inductions have done have taken that cold air intake system to a whole new level.
One of the things that sets them apart is the fact that the only company on the market right now, we're using a ceramic coating on the air intake tube. That helps prevent heat sink from the engine, so the hot engine air isn't going to heat up that air going into the engine itself. Now the other thing they're doing is they're fully insulating the box like this, once again sealing it off, making sure nice cold air going into the engine. Now they come in two different finishes. You've got the near chrome and the powder coated black, and if you look at it, it's really cool because there's an inspection window right here where you can actually look down and see your filter without taking the box apart.
Hey, speaking of the filter, they also manufacture their own 8-layer lifetime filters that are application specific for your particular vehicle. It's the guys at Cold Air Inductions, and you gotta love this thing, man. I like the insulation.
That's cool.
For more information about anything you've seen on today's show, check out speed.com or visit our website at truckutv.com.
Bruno, this is your kind of machine because you can plug it in and you don't have to do anything after that.
It's really hard work.
Hey, welcome back to TruckU. So it's been a good day. We got our C-10 project truck taken care of. That's good. We got the transmission swapped out in the Dodge. That's very cool. Next up, one more thing we want to do before we go is fill the tires on the Dodge with nitrogen. And there's a couple of really good advantages to running nitrogen in the tires.
Yeah, a lot of people think that nitrogen is some kind of a magic gas. What it essentially is, it's got a larger molecule. What that allows you to do is run a steadier tire pressure over a longer period of time. You're not going to get the fluctuations in tire pressure like you'd have hot in the summer, cold in the winter. You're going to be dropping tire pressure. By having the right pressure in your tires, you're going to get 10% better fuel economy and 30% more tire life than you would without it. And that's like driving for free for a year on your tires. That's a whole extra year of wear, which is a really big savings over the course of time.
It is, and nitrogen is a dry gas too, so you don't have the moisture in there, and that's where you get a lot of pressure fluctuation as well too. Cool thing is, you go to Nitrofill's website, right? You punch in your zip code, and that's the dealer locator, and it's going to tell you where you can go locally to get the nitrogen in your tires. It's really cool because you pull in there and they can do all 4 tires at once.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now on this Dodge. What it's doing is we set the right pressure, it's deflating the tires, pulling out the compressed air, filling it up with nitrogen, then purging it out again and topping off with nitrogen. This way you know that we've got the right pressure in it and these tires are going to be rolling on nitrogen, saving you some money. Now, if you go and get a Nitrofill fill up with your tires, you're also going to get membership to their CAP Club, and which that means it's going to give you free roadside assistance anywhere in the United States and Canada just for filling your tires up with Nitrofill's nitrogen.
You also get 1 full year of tire repair that is covered by Nitrofill. That's crazy. I don't know how they do it. But that's it for us today. We're out of time. We'll see you guys next time around. Now, we shouldn't have told everybody about this because we got about 50 people outside waiting to get nitrogen in their tires.
Are you kidding me? This is the easiest job we've ever had. You can go disappear. I got this covered.
I'm trying to get out of here.
I'm on the clock right now.
I got to go fishing.